everyone, and welcome to Mr.MoFranchise. It's Season 1's off-season, where we will be focusing on free agency. The goal of Coach Mo is to add a couple of veteran pieces to this draft that's coming up, where we will add a bunch of young talent. Now, the first step in the off-season is the end-of-the-year performance. It's now time to assess how your team is ranked in the NFL on a variety of factors. Roll a D10 and use the following chart to gain benefits and incur penalties based on your team's performance. So this can affect anything from your overall team to your fan happiness to your ticket sales. I rolled a 9, which was the merchandise category. I checked our merchandise ranking and we landed at 25. Thus, and that's unfortunate because that is the highest end of the lowest ranked category. So Fox, my newly hired CEO, suffers a loss of 2 levels even though he was recently hired. So his sales rating drops from a C- to a D. On a positive side, I was able to roll a D10 for the EP gain for our merchandise, and I did roll 10, so the high end of that, and therefore our team's EP total is up to 18 EPs. So we took a hit for our new CEO, but we did gain 10 EPs, which is very helpful because we only had 8, so now we're up to 18 EPs. Okay, next up is the exciting part of this video, and that is free agency week 1. Now, in my Madden franchise, I don't want to cheese the game by just going out and getting a bunch of high-priced free agents. Trust me, when you watch the footage here in a little bit, you're going to see that Patrick Mahomes was available as a quarterback. And sure, would it have been a blast to hire Patrick Mahomes for the Jaguars? Of course. But I want to try to make this a realistic franchise experience. And so the way that I do free agency is I make it a step-by-step process, where step 1 is I have to get permission from the general manager to even spend the money. And so our general manager is a lifelong fan. He's strategic. And so the very first thing I do is, after I get a player that I'm interested in, I have to roll a 100-sided die. And that die roll has to fall within the range of the lifelong fan's strategic value as far as off-season free agents. So you'll see the first player that I offer a contract to has to fall within the range of 1 to 95 for it to be approved. Now that, statistically speaking, is going to be very likely, but you'll notice every subsequent offer that I give in free agency is going to drop, for the lifelong fan at least, by 10. So the second offer, my odds are only 1 in 85. My third offer is 1 to 75, and so on and so forth. So what you'll see is, for the financial mogul, it's very easy to offer a lot of contracts because they're the easygoing, spend in free agency, whereas the former player, the frugal one, likes to work more through the draft. The strategic, the lifelong fan, is more of like a moderate person, and so they're okay with, purchasing a couple of free agents. So, and then to further the difficulty, if you're able to offer a contract to a player, once I offer that contract, as you know in Madden, it's going to show you like a number rating of the contract offer that you give. But sometimes in Madden, they'll show that you're competing with other people, but it shows you the number that you've offered in relation to the number that the other people have offered. And I don't think that's necessarily fair. It seems a little cheesy. So to add another layer of complexity, when I offer a contract to someone, if I'm competing with another contract, then I have to roll against my player personnel director's negotiation rating. And if that number falls within the range of their negotiation rating, then I can offer a counter proposal. However, if, for example, my player personnel director's negotiation skill is only a 1 through 60 and I roll an 80, then I can no longer give a counter offer for that week. That's just to keep you, once again, from cheesing the game to just barely offering a little bit better than your opponents. You wouldn't always have that information. Sometimes you'd be skillful, but sometimes you wouldn't. So these are just things I put into place to make free agency more realistic. And I wish the real Madden, #FixMadden21, I wish they would have it be more strategic, so you just couldn't cheese the game. And there were restrictions more heavily placed on you besides just money. Of course, money is the biggest constraint, but there's other decisions to make, and to keep you from just, I wish players had things like in the NBA where I want to play for a playoff team, or I don't want to play for a small market, things like that would really, I think, add to the Madden experience. So let's go to the footage and see the roles that I did get. Alright, so let's look at the free agents here. We've got $55 million in cap room to spend. It's a lot of money, but we want to spend it wisely. So we look at the free agents. as you can see, there are some top-notch free agents out there. Patrick Mahomes, Andrew Luck, those would be great quarterbacks to have, but Andrew Luck's retired. Kareem Hunt, I don't want his person on my team. I really don't want some of these higher-priced aging veterans either. So, yeah, those people will be helpful, but what I'm really looking for is someone to help me on the offensive line. And so what I'm going to be looking at here is Taylor Decker, left tackle. What I like about Taylor Decker is that he's well served for what we're looking for. He's a left tackle. He's an 82. He's got star development. He's 26. And so I was able to roll for him, and my GM approved. And then so I went ahead and I gave him a 5-year deal, estimated at close to $58 million. And that put me at a 93 overall rating. And so far, no one's going against me, bidding against me, so I didn't need to roll for my player personnel director. So then I scrolled down and looked at a couple other people. And the second thing that I wanted to do, because I've looked at so many linemen in the draft, and I haven't looked at as many secondary people, I decided to offer Trevor Williams a deal. And the GM did approve. I rolled a 6, and the GM approved of that. So then I offered a 4-year deal to Trevor Williams, and no one's bidding against me, so I didn't have to worry about that. So after that second successful offer to Trevor Williams, I wanted to roll for a third offer, and my range for my third offer, of course, is 1 through 75, and I rolled and I got a 91. So what that meant was, for this particular week, the GM said enough is enough. So no more offers were given for week 1. So we're entering week 2 of free agency, and our fingers are crossed. And success is had. We were able to sign Trevor Williams to our secondary. That's going to make our secondary immediately that much better. That's a good signing. And almost more importantly, the signing of Taylor Decker, who's going to make our offensive line so much better. So after the successful signing of those 2 players, I went to give a contract offer this week, and the GM's rating is now 1 through 65. I rolled and I got a 73. So for free agency week number 2, the GM said, no thank you, let's wait a little bit longer. So we entered free agency week 3 with a roll now at a 55. And so I was able to roll for that, and there was success. And so I was going to offer a free agent contract. And just to let you know ahead of time, my second roll, which would be a 1 through 45, I rolled an 8. So I was able to offer 2 offers at this point. So you're going to see that in the upcoming footage. And then my third roll, my range was a 1 through 35, and I rolled a 45. So I was only able to offer 2 contracts for this free agent week, and let's look at the footage and see what I did. So for this week, because I had done so much scouting for offensive linemen and skill position players, I really hadn't focused as much on the secondary. My goal here was to try to once again to bolster my secondary. So I really like Charvarius Ward here. First of all, he's a 79, and he's a slot cornerback at the age of 24. And what I really wanted to do was I really want to continue to start C.J. Henderson and continue to see his star potential grow. And so I already purchased the contract for Williams to play on one side. So I wanted to have C.J. Henderson play on the other side and then play Charvarius Ward in the slot. And so the 79 number, I think, for a 24-year-old is a great one to build on, because he will only be playing if I'm in nickel or dime or quarter coverages. And so Charvarius Ward, I thought, was the great signing here. I also like the fact that he's a puzzle piece and that nobody else was bidding on him. So I thought he fit our scheme perfectly for this free agency time. So I thought his contract at the age of 24, I really liked the 5-year deal. And I thought that the $57 million offer was a good place to start. And that was still going to leave me with $26 million in cap room. So I offered that to him, and I like the fact that that was a 93 overall rating. I don't know if anybody else is bidding against me, but I thought that was a good place to start. And then my second acquisition that I tried to make, at least the offer that I was going for, was to continue to bolster my secondary. So free safety was definitely a spot where, playing Reed, he made some great plays, but he's a 66 overall. you're not going to win a ton of games in the NFL with a 66 overall free safety. And so I thought DeMonte KZ would be a great upgrade. And yes, he is 27, but this is something that I felt would benefit our team. I thought it was very affordable if you look at his contract. And so at the number 77, which would be an 11-point jump over Reed, and that would make Reed my backup, but he earned a backup spot with his play last year. I was going to go ahead and offer this contract to DeMonte KZ. And so after careful consideration, I went ahead and said, yes, this is the move I want to make. And I like the move there, a 3-year contract, an 89 total points offer. I thought was a very good offer, especially considering nobody else currently is competing against us. And so those were the 2 moves I made. And then my final roll for that week denied me. The GM said no more offers. So I went into the last week of free agency with my fingers crossed, and I was rewarded. We were able to sign both KZ and Ward, which will definitely help bolster our secondary. Feeling a lot better against pass coverage in the upcoming season. Feel good about those moves. So after successfully getting those 2 gentlemen to sign on my club, I went into the last week of free agency knowing that they may be my last moves because the GM is now down to a 1 through 25, but there's always hope. There's a 1 in 4 chance. So I rolled for the 4th week of free agency, and my roll was a 42. So the GM said, we have made enough signings. We've got an offensive lineman and 3 secondary pieces. Let's complete our team by looking at all those picks in the draft. Let's continue on with this team from there, but enough of the spending. But still, those 4 players in free agency, I think, are going to be the great puzzle pieces that we need to, 1, give us a better line, 2, improve our secondary, and 3, just to give some veteran presence for all these new players that we're about to have in the draft. Well, that is all I have for you this week. Next week, our very special draft episode where the Jacksonville Jaguars have multiple double-digit picks to be going to build this team. I'm excited. We're picking 4th in the draft, hoping that we can get our franchise quarterback. No offense to Minshew, but he just wasn't the answer this year. I hope you're having fun. I hope you're ready for the draft as much as I am. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. Hit that like button. Tell a friend. Jacksonville's on the move. They're getting ready to draft, and that's all coming to you next week. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.